To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. I've been thinking about my life in comparison to a normal life. The only normal life I know is the one I used to have, where I went to work every day, 12, 15 hours a day. Admittedly, I made good money, and I gave it all up. This normal life had a lot of problems to it. When you're depending on someone else to take care of you, you always run into problems. You got to go to work, and your car breaks down. I'm depending on someone to come take care of me, a tow truck driver, a taxi driver, to come and resolve your issue. And boy, you better not be late for work. And you just can't be late for work. Not in my position. I couldn't even miss work. In 3 years, I had not had one vacation. And I'm not complaining. I'm telling you how I resolved my issues. I want to talk about this off-grid lifestyle, where I have absolutely nothing. I don't have anything. I got a piece of property, a tiny, tiny house, 12 by 16. I have a few solar panels, got 10 solar panels, 1,000 watts, and I don't know how many people actually know what a watt is, but it's not much. I have a refrigerator, a bed, a few tools. I just don't have a lot. I could almost probably name everything in a 10-minute video. But I got more than what most people have. And so we've been through this cold snap where the entire country froze up. And I got a lot of commenters telling me, yeah, we froze up in Iowa and we froze up in Tennessee or, wherever. And they're doing rolling blackouts in my area. And it was catastrophic. And so the one person you would think that would suffer the most out of all this is the guy who doesn't have anything. When I used to watch Little House on the Prairie, how difficult it must have been. Had been terrible. And I just couldn't ever imagine it. But here I am doing the same thing, and I know for an absolute fact it's easier. So I told you that my water tank froze up, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute. In yesterday's video, it froze up, and it was because of my mistake. The system I put together worked. It worked right up until the mistake took place, which is the ventilation fell down, covered it up, and so I wasn't getting any heat into my insulated box. But I wasn't out of water. Many areas were out of water, but I wasn't. Even though I had froze up. The only thing I was out of was a water heater. I didn't have a on-demand water heater. So you'll see here there's this black pipe. This black pipe goes down there, I think 100 feet, and then it goes into the well 100 feet. I got a little bag over it. It needs work. The well has a damage to it. I got to fix it, but there's water in it, and lots of water. And it takes a little bit of effort to clean it. No big deal though. I can filter it. Oh, and I even have this filter here. It's in the snow right now. I just got done using it. And it makes it really pretty clean water. I bleach it, and then I Berkey it so we can have drinking water, or you can boil it, and bleach dissipates with boiling. I have electric. Even though it was cloudy most every day, I had everything I needed. My computer ran the whole time. My cell phones worked the entire time. Everything was working. But I, again, had to rely on a backup. Just like the water, I had to rely on my backup. On the days the solar panels weren't working, you might see it over there, there was a generator. And the generator worked flawlessly. There were some days it would look at me and say, "Are you kidding? Tell those solar panels to get to work." But 4 or 5 pulls later, it'd start right up. It's well maintained. I make sure it's maintained. So the solar panels, I don't know how much I have invested in solar panels. I probably could go and figure it all out. But I don't think it's any more than, I don't know, $1,100, $1,200, $450 for the generator. Of course, you got to put gas in the generator. But I don't use hardly any gas. I probably go through 10 gallons of gas every 2 months. So let's say I have $1,700 invested in my electric system. Now, it doesn't give me as much electric as you have, but it gives me all that I need or want. That's key. Whereas many people in this country didn't have any. And so I find it fascinating that you probably pay at least $2,000 or $3,000 a year. Well, I've been here a year and I've invested $1,200, and I suspect that all my equipment will continue to run. Well, the solar panels should run for another 20, 25 years easily. And then the generator, it's already 2 years old, so it's well paid for itself. So there's no investment in my electric, and I have nothing, yet I am in better shape. I really feel this. There's no way for me to prove it to you, but I really feel that I am in better shape than I would have been had I been going to work every day. Recognize I have to have a vehicle to get to work. I got to go to work during snow days. Dangerous. What if I didn't make it to work? Could I get fired? The truck was stuck here, and I don't have four-wheel drive, and I want to talk about that just for a second. The truck is two-wheel drive. It's a 2015 Chevy Colorado 4-cylinder, and I don't believe in getting 4x4 trucks. Now, this morning I was called incredibly ignorant for not having a 4x4. My thinking is I need a 4x4 once a year to get out of a stuck situation. Is it worth $8,000? I think that's what it was. The 4x4 was going to be $8,000 more than this one. Well, I've been stuck once in this truck. I've actually been stuck once in my life. And I called the tow truck, and they pulled me out for 126 bucks. Well, that immediately told me I don't need a 4x4. I could call a tow truck a lot for 126 bucks before I need a 4x4. So to me, minimalization, saving money, not having stress in my life, not needing to go anywhere, it's just much better. So yeah, maybe I'm a incredibly ignorant person, but I am a lot happier, I'm sure, because that person has debt. I'm sure they have debt. Okay, so yesterday I was telling you that my tank froze up. And what had happened was I have ventilation back here. I've already fixed it all. I want to show you what I did, but there's ventilation back here, and I had a ventilation pipe running down to here. Well, that ventilation pipe broke off. I had tape on it, and it broke off from the main piece coming out of the house. And the tape covered up the hole. So no heat from the house was getting in here. See, you hear the pump? It's working. So what I did was I just went ahead and took that piece off, and I let that piece just hang there overnight. Now, the tank was froze from about here because I didn't have any heat in here. Well, today you'll see it's not froze. And you heard the pump kick on. So overnight, my little system, it was able to thaw out this tank. I also filled it up a little bit. And the reason I did was, it was down a little bit, right about here, was the valve was still frozen. That was the only thing frozen when I woke up this morning. So I took my well water, which is what I filled this with, and it comes out of the ground at 65 degrees. Much warmer than this. So I took the hose and I ran it all the way down and stuck it inside the valve in here. And I filled it up, letting that water, hot water, that 65-degree water, hit that valve, thawed it right out. Then, of course, the hose was froze down here. I took the pump out yesterday. I took it inside and thawed it out, so it was fine. And so I just had to thaw the hose out this morning, and everything's working. You know, it doesn't take a lot to be happy. It doesn't take a lot to make things work. I mean, I've been told everything in the world on how to make this better. And this morning, I got a comment. Somebody said, you need to put insulation underneath the tank. And that way, you don't get any temperature from the ground coming up to freeze the tank. Technically, heat rises. So as the heat's coming out of the ground, it's bringing heat up. Cold air sinks, so the cold air is going into the ground. If you insulate it, you stop that cycle. But the thing is somebody replied back to that comment, not me, and said, the tank's not frozen, which at the time of that video, the tank was not frozen. That was a true statement. Sometimes I think people overthink things. And there's a saying called KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. The more simplistic you make things, the less difficult it is to work on. I don't think it would have froze if my pipe hadn't have fallen off. So it's just a simple design, and it worked. I told you yesterday I got this little thermometer. The thermometer, this is a remote control deal. So the thermometer actually sends a signal into a display in the house. And so right now it's about 36 degrees in that box right there. Now the pump, I talked about the pump in the past. This pump does not have a suction. And I read the instructions on this. People say, well, it will suck water out of the tank. All I got to do is put that in there. I got an RV, they say. In the instructions, it says if you lose suction, you have to reprime it. Priming it means you got to fill the suction hose with water so it will draw water out. Well, imagine trying to do that in here. It would be a nightmare. So no, I don't think that's what I want to do. I'm quite happy with the way it works. Now the pump, when you wire the pump up, the pump doesn't matter which direction it runs. It's just a pump. So if the motor runs one direction or the other direction, it doesn't matter. So you ever have to wire one of these RV pumps up, there's no positive or negative wire. You can wire it backwards or forwards. The only thing it's going to do is make the motor run one direction or the other. But the pump still does this no matter which way it goes. So I hope I can inspire you to keep it simple so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.